Hello, everybody. Happy July 24th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have the assistant AD and new girls basketball coach for East Catholic. His name, Chad Malone, not related to Carl Malone, whose birthday is today. He turns 57 or 58. I don't quite remember. Doesn't matter. I have the better Malone, Chad Malone. It's great to have you on, man.
Love it. Thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. I wish I had the skills like the mailman. I can't claim to have that, but happy to join you as always.
You know what? You're a talent in and of itself in Connecticut for what you've done as the assistant AD and now having an opportunity to be the head coach for East Catholic. We'll talk about how that transpired and how you were able to get the position with East Catholic for girls basketball in just a little bit. I first want to hit on the fact of you being the assistant AD. And with you being in that position, you kind of have the inner workings as far as knowing about how potentially this fall could be. Kind of take me into what you're hearing, what's being talked about right now.
So we meet. The CIAC does a great job. They meet every week with the ADs and our league as well, the CCC conference, just keeping everybody up to date with. Obviously, things change every day. It's a very fluid situation, but they're doing a great job of just getting the feel of the superintendents and principals and ADs, seeing where everybody stands. And a term we keep hearing is cautiously optimistic, and I'm living by that. I know that our kids are itching to get back and play. Our coaches, teachers, everybody in the building just wants to be back and feel that sense of normalcy. Obviously following all the guidelines and safety precautions, but as of now, I feel good about it. I think at East Catholic, we've done a great job of just putting things in place to have our kids and our families feel comfortable getting back out on the playing surface again. So again, being cautiously optimistic, I feel good about the fall. I feel that our kids are going to get the chance to compete again, and I know they'll be ready to go.
Have you talked amongst the ADs in the conference in the CCC about, because the one thing I've noticed is as far as the football programs are concerned, it seems like to me what Bunnell is doing as far as their training is not the same thing that Simsbury's doing. Like they're kind of doing their different workouts, but they all kind of equal the same thing. For you, are you talking with the ADs about how you're going about making sure that there's social distancing, respectively?
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, our conference is doing a great job with the weekly Zoom calls and just getting feedback from everybody, seeing how things are going. Each district is different. Us being a school within the Archdiocese, we have a little bit of different rules as well. But just everybody that is hopefully getting the chance to get some conditioning in and follow the guidelines, take your temperatures, wear your mask, use the hand sanitizer, have cohorts, small groups of kids working out together, and just following all those guidelines. I think everybody being smart and being safe, we could be in a good place. But yeah, like you said, every district is different. So I think we all have the same end goal, but it's just a matter of following those guidelines set in place and making kids and families feel comfortable.
Now, you mentioned before we came on that there could be potentially a late start to the fall season where maybe it starts mid to end of September. Now, if that happens, why is that?
I think it makes a lot of sense. We don't want sports to be the reason why schools can't open. Obviously, these kids are student athletes, students coming first. Sports are a luxury to play in high school. Obviously, everybody should be entitled to that, but we want to make sure that us starting practices before school even starts isn't the reason why schools get shut down. So I think it's a smart play to potentially let the kids in the building, see how things are going, see if there needs to be any modifications made, and then sports come later, which makes a lot of sense to me. It may be a shortened season as a result of that, but I think any chance these kids get to compete, they will greatly appreciate it, and keeping our fingers crossed for that, for sure.
That's a great point. I think at the end of the day, people, and more so the students who, and I think, as what you stated earlier about being student athletes, not athletes, students, they're students first, athletes second, but there's a lot of built up, they want to play. They know that, I'm sure a lot of the fall athletes that play winter sports could not play spring sports, and they just want to go out and play and at least have some sort of normalcy to that. And like you mentioned, if they can only play 5 games, 6 games, I think that's better than nothing, because the one thing I mentioned to you prior to us coming on is the fact that you have the superstar athletes who can pick any school. They're lucky. But then you have the middle tier who are trying to put that extra film out there in soccer or football, or just name whatever sport you want. They need that to be able to kind of give that extra oomph so that college could say, you know what, we feel comfortable. And I think even if it's only 5, 10 games, if it's soccer, if it's 5 games in football, if it's whatever in any other sport during the fall, that's what's needed.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And just even outside of recruiting, these kids, obviously their teammates are their closest friends for the most part. I know for me personally, a lot of my closest friends to this day are the kids that I went to high school with. So just giving them the opportunity to be back around with their friends, and hearing balls bouncing and kids laughing, and with their coaches as well. It's a lot of these coaches are great mentors to these kids, and they lean on them. They can be father figures, motherly figures to these kids, and just I know they're ready to get back together. And yeah, like you said, on the recruiting side, it's anything is better than nothing. This is a tough test, but it also shows. I look at it as an opportunity as well. You have a lot of downtime, whether you're at home or wherever you may be. It's an opportunity to work on your body, or watch film or YouTube, little things like that. And this will be a test of who's been preparing themselves. We have to be ready to go, and be expecting to go. And so whoever's been putting in the work, it'll definitely show. And I think it'll pay dividends.
And speaking of putting in the work, I mean, you're not just the assistant AD. Now we're going to turn the page over to another side. You're now the new head coach for the East Catholic girls basketball program. You're pulling double duty, so you're not going to be home that much. I mean, first off, congratulations on getting the position. I think it's well deserved. I've asked around before I, had you on the show, and heard nothing but great things about you, man. And again, congrats to you, and well deserved.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun. I've been working in the program for the past 3 years, actually coaching both freshman and JV, and assisting varsity as well, and just building relationships with these kids. We've seen a lot of success. We made it to the CCC championship for the first time in our school's history this past year. So I'm really excited for the opportunity just to lead these kids. And obviously, as the state knows, our boys basketball program is as good as it gets. And that's our goal, honestly. I know it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, but that's where I want to get. I think we have the kids to make that happen. Myself and my staff are ready to make that happen as well. And honestly, having a guy like Coach Riley around is just a great resource to tap into. He's been phenomenal. He's a friend of mine. He's a mentor of mine. Just picking his brain on everything basketball and life, and just working with his kids. It's been great so far. I've already been hard at work, and just counting down the days, hopefully till November 30th, but we'll see.
Coach Riley's a really nice guy. I've only had an opportunity to talk to him once, and that was prior to the game that I was broadcasting for WATR in the first round of the Division I playoffs. Holy Cross against East Catholic at Plainville, a game that everybody thought was going to be a blowout in terms of East Catholic beating Holy Cross. It did not turn out like that. Holy Cross came out ready to play and kind of gave East Catholic for about 3, maybe 2.5, 3 quarters, a little bit of a scare. But Coach Riley, very respectful, young kid like me who's just asking questions about the team. He could have been like, no, don't talk to me, whatever. But very forthcoming. He allowed me to kind of just ask him about anything and everything prior to tip. And, nothing but respect for him and for what he's done for East Catholic.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're lucky to have him. He's the gold standard. It's as good as it gets. And like you said, that was a battle. I was there, and it was a nail biter. It really was. We came out of the gate a little slow, but coach just trains those kids so well that they don't feel that pressure. They don't really feel adversity. They know deep down that they have what it takes, and eventually it clicks, and it did. And good things happen from there for sure. Got another ring, raised another banner.
Yep. I know. Hey, congrats to him. Congrats to the program. You mentioned about how you coached the freshmen in JV. Do you think because of you doing that, it kind of in some ways now with you being the head coach, maybe there won't be so much of a transition, because if you were, let's say, a new coach from another town, like, I don't know, let's say Killingly or Towland or wherever. You're new and the kids really don't know you. But now, with you already being in the program and them seeing your face, knowing who you are, and knowing what you expect, maybe it'll be a much easier first year for you compared to other first year coaches.
I agree. Absolutely. Just one quote that I like to use as my coaching philosophy is I like to learn my kids before I teach them. So being in this role, I'm lucky. I know these kids. I know what motivates them. Um, just building those relationships. I'm lucky enough to work in the building as well. So just seeing them on their way to lunch or in the hallways and just stopping in to say hello, checking in on things. Having that trust and that relationships already built is phenomenal. It's a good step one. And I think the hardest thing in the transformation will be just like you said, going from the assistant to the head guy. Being as an assistant, sometimes you have to play the good cop, and when you're the head man, things may be a little bit different. Expectations will be higher. I say higher goals equals harder work, and that's what we're striving for. So I'm excited for the challenge. I know the girls are too, and we're just ready to get to work.
Have you noticed that the girls' game, and I haven't broadcasted a lot of girls' basketball, but just looking at the landscape of high school basketball itself, the one biggest proponent I've had of it is that I feel like the game is moving farther away. And what I mean by that is we're getting farther away from the hoop. There's not too many players that drive to the basket, kind of want to get fouled, or I don't even want to say want to get fouled because nobody wants to get hit, but is willing to take the hard elbow or, the knee, whatever, and going to the line and earn those 2 free throws. It seems like it's moving farther and farther outside to the 3-point line. I mean, are you seeing the same thing that I am?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think some of that comes from kids just watching ESPN. You see Steph Curry launching from 30 feet, and it's, wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. I want to try that. When personally, I'm a fundamental guy. I'm an old school guy. My grandfather was a legendary coach in South Windsor, Fred Hammock. He taught me a lot about just the old school way of basketball and fundamentals and how effective that can be. So in our practices, we're working on taking charges, and we're out there with pads, being physical, and that sets teams apart. It's a lot of games are won on the glass, and just being able and being willing to kind of get your nose dirty and come out of the game with some bruises, and that a lot of times translates to wins. So we're working on hustle drills, we're diving on the floor, we're taking charges, we're getting them fired up for that type of stuff. I think it's rewarding and it pays dividends, and it shifts momentum a lot of times in games. Those can be huge. If somebody's just killing us one-on-one, all you got to do is slide in, take one charge, and that kind of changes the game. So we preach that type of stuff, and it's so rewarding to see it in games. I can't even tell you.
I almost feel like the old timers, and I'm not calling your grandfather an old timer, but I'm just saying the guys who are seeing the game now in the terms of like the way it's changed, because the way it was played in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s is not the same way it's played now. And I almost feel like, and you made a great point about watching ESPN and seeing the highlights and Steph Curry hitting from 40 feet, Damian Lillard from the Blazers hitting from half court. I mean, Doncic doing the same thing, Trae Young. I mean, the fact that I'm doing this is, in my opinion, sad, because
Right.
I almost feel like, and again, I can't choose the highlights, but there's nothing wrong with seeing a player with a nice move in the paint or kind of going one-on-one. Like, I've always been someone who has tried to root for ESPN. I've tweeted at them. They don't answer back. Not surprised. But when it's a great one-on-one battle and he beats them and he gets to the hoop, I feel like you put that out there more, and maybe kids have a different mindset on what they think about that.
Absolutely. I love that. It's selfishly, like I said, being old school, there's times I wish there wasn't a 3-point line, because it really does make such a difference. And they talk about whatever, pushing it back even, or whatever they have in mind. But yeah, like you said, I love watching guys just bang bodies down low. And I've never met anybody that can defend a hook shot. And that's just a lost art, using the glass from 15 feet. It's like you don't see that type of stuff anymore. But the teams that use that, like I'll use an example of a girls team, E.O. Smith, who won our CCC championship, just plays that style. They play old school, and it's so effective. And they're beating teams that are far better on paper or far more athletic, but just that style is because you don't see it. It's tough to defend. It's tough to prepare for, and if you're able to play that style, I think it really sets you apart. So that's what we're striving for.
On the girls' side, because I've noticed this on the boys' side, where I almost feel like the center position has kind of been, I don't know how to put this. Maybe almost like a lost art per se, because the center, if you can't shoot, you're pretty much not on the court unless you're just a big who just grabs rebounds. And even then, because the game is so much faster now, so I've seen some teams play with 4 guards, sometimes even 5 guards, and they don't even have a center. And I'm kind of looking at my book like, am I writing this correct? 5 guards? Okay. But then I see how the game and you mentioned about E.O. Smith, and I've seen other teams where they can use the speed and kind of just wear down teams and say, you know what, we're going to play this like a track meet. If we make our baskets, if we drive to the hoop, we don't get into foul trouble, we're going to win. Have you seen that from the girl side?
Yeah, absolutely. We're lucky. We have a girl. She's going to be a sophomore. I'm really excited about her. She's kind of an old school center type of player, which is phenomenal. It's yeah, like you said, it's a lost art. You don't see that type of stuff anymore. And going even on the NBA side again, Boban from the Dallas Mavericks, I saw last night in their scrimmage, is hitting threes. It's like that guy is 7'5", almost 300 pounds, and he's jacking threes. It's frustrating to me personally, but that's the way things are going. So we got to adapt. Obviously, we try to do a good job of scouting every team that we play. So just I think that makes a huge difference. But yeah, it's a completely different game now, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
The Mavericks are my team too, and I was saying the same thing. I'm like, why is he doing that? I mean, it's the same thing with because baseball was on yesterday, opening day, and again, 2020, COVID 2020, opening day was on July 23rd. So, but whatever. And I'm watching the Yankees Nationals game, and we're about 4 innings through, and I'm talking with a couple buddies of mine, and they're like, "Oh, this is great. Baseball's back." And I'm like, "Yeah, but baseball still hasn't changed. It's still the 3 true outcomes: walks, strikeouts, home runs."
Yeah.
Max Scherzer gave up, I think, 4 runs, but struck out 12, 10 or 12, something like that. Garrett Cole pitched well, but he was pitching to contact. His stuff wasn't there. But the point I'm trying to make is baseball is still the same, even months of absence because of COVID. So I don't know. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big baseball fan too, and I was a little disappointed. I thought they had such an opportunity during this quarantine to kind of change their ways a little bit. It needs a breath of fresh air. Like I said, I love the game, but there needs to be changes. It can be tough to sit down and watch a 3 or 4 hour game. They don't do a great job of marketing their superstars, which the NBA obviously does. So I was hoping that they would capitalize a little bit more during this quarantine, but baseball's baseball. They got those true baseball diehard fans that they don't want to see change. And yeah, I hear you. So I go both ways on it, but I'm a Red Sox fan, so I'm fired up for tonight for sure.
Oh, I feel so sorry for you. Your master cheated. Hey, you guys still got your World Series. I mean, I tell people this because I'm a Cowboys fan for football. I've seen 3 playoff wins in my 27 years of life. I know Patriots fans who are like 10 who have seen more playoff wins in 1 year than I have my whole life.
Right.
So I'm like I have no sympathy for you if you don't win for the next X amount of years. Try being me.
Exactly. Yep. So true.
But one more thing about the Yankee game real quick. I know we got a little bit off topic, but 2 things you can guarantee in a Yankee game. Sanchez will strike out 3 times, which he did yesterday. And at the very most, they're going to hit at least 3 home runs a game.
Yep.
It's about
correct. That's their style. It's a dinger or it's a strikeout. It's crazy. Yep. That's how they swing too. They're not swinging for contact. They're almost closing their eyes and grip it and rip it. See how far you can hit it.
Hey, Coach Malone, I really do appreciate you coming on. It's great to be able to talk about the program. I know we got off subject a little bit about some baseball, football, et cetera, but hey, That's what a podcast is. We're going to talk about various things. I got a couple more questions for you. One thing in particular about the basketball program itself. Kind of take me into what does the program, I guess, stand for per se? I mean, like, what I'm trying to say is, what are you trying to strive as far as when a team comes to East Catholic or you guys travel to wherever you're going, what kind of standard does the program have?
Yeah, that's a great question. Two things that I preach all the time. It's, in my opinion, they're the only things you can control are your effort and your attitude. I tell the girls that constantly. It's if we can bring those two things every single day and for every minute of practice, we're going to be in a good spot. So just as soon as the bell rings, I love to see the girls, even before practice starts, just getting in there and getting shots up. That's showing max effort right there. Every drill that we do is a competition. So they're competing constantly, and it can be intense, and that's what we strive for. Though we want to prepare them for the toughest situations they're going to face in the game. So once it's game time, it just comes naturally to them. So on the attitude side, just wanting to be at practice is number one. That's huge. Not dreading going to a 2 or 3 hour practice, but itching to get in there and improve. And every day, just working on your game and bringing that max effort and challenging each other. It's obviously a lot of the girls on the team are very close friends, but when it's practice, I expect them to be rivals. I want them competing against each other and making themselves better. And in turn, that makes the team a lot better. So whenever we take the floor at home or going on the road, I hope the other team sees that we're maxing out everything we do. We're going as hard as possible, and we're doing it with a great attitude. And as teammates, we're supporting each other. And I think that goes a long way and really builds chemistry and a team that's tough to beat. So that's what we're pushing for at East Catholic.
Coach Malone, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Hopefully you can have your first season as a head coach and have all the games possible and have a little bit of non-stress. But I think the good part is about you coaching a winter sport is that hopefully the stress will be during the fall, and then you can kind of ease yourself in. But either way, you're doing great work as far as the assistant AD and now getting an opportunity well-deserved as the head coach. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This is phenomenal. It's just having this platform and an outlet to promote the game. And we talked previously. We both love Connecticut high school sports and basketball in particular. And I think there's a lot of talent in this state, and you're doing a great job covering that. It's their stories should be told, and guys like yourself are doing a great job doing that. So I really appreciate you having me on.
No problem. And hey, when you get your first win as a head coach, send me a message, text me, whatever you got to do. I'm telling you right now, get your butt back on here. I want to have you on so you could talk about how that first win, how you felt. Because I'm telling you, I think you have, hopefully Coach Riley had sprinkled a little bit of his magic dust on you, and you can be the gold standard for girls basketball. And then there'll be two very talented coaches at East Catholic for girls and boys basketball.
That's right. We talk about UConn's the capital of college basketball. We're trying to make East Catholic the capital of high school basketball. That's the goal. So again, I appreciate it, and I'll definitely be in touch. I'd love to come on again.
Now wrap things up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent, and I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody, and be safe.